Hi, and welcome back. This is Sean again with The Good Trade on Webull. And we're going to go over the KDJ again, but a little bit more depth. I've had a few people call. I've taken a few calls. I've had a few people send me messages and say, I kind of get it, but could you go over it again and maybe explain some things on a little bit deeper basis? And so here we are. We're going to get right into it. We'll start with MFA Financial, and I'm going to go out to a 4-hour window, which is kind of my window of choice to find stocks. They're going to have more green days than red days, and that's what we're all after. So right now, you're going to notice right off the bat, I am not on Webull. I am on Trading View, and I'm kind of in love with it. And I'll do another video on that at another time. But I've got all kinds of goodies up here that you may not have on Webull. But at the bottom, the very basis of what we're doing the video over is the KDJ. And so it has the KDJ. And you'll notice I have my parameters set on 14 and 3. This is much like a stochastic. If you're not familiar with that, don't even worry about it. But a KDJ, like my previous video, will predict what the future of the stock trade is going to do, the stock that you bought into. And if you're not zooming out on a big enough picture, like a 4-hour window, then it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to tell how long to hold something. So we'll dip right in here, and I'll go into the fundamental, what I look for personally. March 25th, we're at a trough. Essentially, from the last video, if you watched it, the delta, which is now orange, I think it was yellow in the last one, it swings up and it swings down. And no matter what stock you put on this chart, you're going to find that this goes through cycles. It starts at a trough, it has a peak, and I have a kind of a nifty little indicator where it turns immediately red once that D% peaks and then starts to decline. I remember I was telling you in a previous video, you want to watch that value, and as it starts to decline, most of the time your price action is going to follow it. Now, here's a little bit more in depth that I didn't get into before. The KDJ is K%, D%, and your J line. Your D% is your long averages. You see here it's 14, it's set on 14. 14 periods. That's on a 4-hour window, that's 14 periods, 14 candles. Okay, each candle represents 4 hours of trading. I find a 4-hour window is really good because a full cycle from a trough to a peak to another trough is roughly a week. The first half of the week, it can be longer, it can be shorter, but it's about a week. We have the 25th through April 2nd. Everybody wants to be on the upside of a trade, the upside of a trend, and this is how you find the upside. You find a trough. Now, your fast-acting average, your 3-period average, is going to move through your longer average. It will diverge. So you'll see the blue line is your shorter average, and as your price action starts to increase, it's going to diverge from your longer average. Your J line is like a rate of change indicator. It's going to tell you how fast and how strong that divergence is. The stronger the divergence, the higher the price action. Typically, this range on your delta percent is going to range from 0 to 100. Anything under 20 is considered oversold. Anything over 80 is considered overbought. And you're typically not, you can see on the right-hand side of this had a really good run, and it got as high as, it didn't even reach 80. You're looking for a stock, for a multi-day runner, that's going to be coming up out of a low point, a trough, from anywhere from negative numbers you'll see it start to rise. I like to look for it to get start coming out of a range of 20 to 30. And so anytime you pull up a stock and you're thinking about trading it, you want to zoom out to a 4-hour window, and that's going to tell you, and you can see here, it's going to tell you what it's going to do in the future. As this orange line, your long average, starts to increase, you can see the value 12, look in your lower left hand, 13, 15, it's jumping. And then if you look at your J line, it's starting to increase pretty rapidly. Well, you've got price action on the 6th, 7th, 8th, all the way to the 9th, close of the 9th bell. You got several days of positive action, okay? This is how you're going to find and zoom in on a daily chart or on a 30-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute window, and then use this same format, the same method to find a dip. Okay, so it's already on an uptrend and it's going to keep increasing. So now you want to find the dip. And we'll do the same thing. I like MFA Financial. We can pull up anything there in the future. So let's zoom in now. We've found where our stock was. Let's say that we didn't see, we're going to go all the right-hand side. This is all we see. Well, we saw that it was at a trough. It's increasing. It broke 20. You can wait a little bit longer if you like, 24. Now, this is April 6th. Again, like we said, we want more green days than red days. We're going to zoom over. April 6th. The morning of April 6th, right? We see it's going on an uptrend prior to that. Let's go to a 15-minute window. April 6th. Trying to make this as short as I can so I can keep your attention, but still cover all the basics. And I'm going to do another video on TradingView very soon because this has so many things that I think are necessary. I'm trying to put together other indicators to formulate my own plan and process of getting more consistent. All right, so the morning of, right? This doesn't really break. Looks like it breaks at 0, early dawn hours. So you wouldn't want to buy here, right? We know this is on an uptrend. Let's look for a dip. Right, you could follow this on a 15. You could follow on a 5. You could have caught, let's say we missed our early morning buy-in, right? But this has some price action right here on the 6th. Looks like it starts right after the market closes. We missed our first one right here pre-market. If we were to go to the 5-minute window, I'm just showing you the process here. We're on an uptrend. We know it's going to increase over the next several days. Let's look for an optimum buying period. Zoom out a little bit more so we get to it. Now we're assuming we don't see this future price action. Here we go, on the 6th. We're on a 5-minute window. Morning of the 6th. That's pre-market. Let's go over here to, it's been pretty much falling all day, right? So you would have been disappointed. You're like, wait a minute, I thought he said it was going up. You're going to have more green days than red days. And I said, as we're looking, you see it hasn't done much, but you do know it's going to rise. We've already seen that. It's on the uptrend, and I promise you it will. We could have bought at its low for the day or near its low for the day at about a little past noon, almost 1 o'clock. Here's a good dip. Bought down here at 114. Held it, held it, held it. We know it's on the uptrend. You have to trust the uptrend on the bigger time chart. So we could have bought it all the way down here, 115, 128. You could sell it, you could hold it. We know we're still in the uptrend. This thing's a multi-day runner. We've already found that. Morning of April 7th, on the uptrend again, on the uptick, all the way to 140, right? So this is how we find the multi-day runner, and then you zoom in on the smaller window, find your buy-in at a low, and hold. This KDJ is good for any time frame window that you're looking at, right? And even here, if you decide you don't want to hold it for an extra day, you want to hold it for another hour, for another 30 minutes, you want to go ahead and take your profit. You bought it at a low. Now here's the part where you find out, hey, when do I sell this thing? Well, you've peaked on your D%. It's about to go into a pretty steep drop, and you could go ahead and take your profit here. Let's say that you missed it. You were doing laundry and it fell. I mean, stuff happens, right? You hold on to something. It falls. You're like, crap. Well, we know we're still on the uptrend, at least for another day or so. You can trust it's probably going to come back up. Now, just in case you're still wondering, right? We're on, like, well, maybe I missed my sell opportunity. I got to hold it. April 8th. Let's go back. It's why it's important to look at multiple time frames. April 8th. Let's see where we're at in our larger uptrend. Ooh, September. That's not what we're looking for. Come on, there we go. All right, April 8th. All right. You're looking here, we haven't quite peaked on our D%, which means we still have momentum behind us, right? So maybe you missed your profit-taking opportunity. Go back and look at your window. You're like, okay, I can still hold this probably for a little bit longer. Our J line is really high. We're at 95. It's almost at overbought. Anytime a J line gets above 80, 90, even 100, it's time to go ahead and start thinking about taking your profit, getting out of this trade. We're good on our 4-hour window, but it looks like we might be closing our window of opportunity on the upside of our trough and peak. So we go back to, let's say, April 8th. Let's go to a 5-minute. Where are we at? We're pretending we don't see this because we cut that part off. You bear with me for just a moment. Shrink it down. All right, here we go. April 8th. We'll zoom in a little bit. And this is what I was telling you about these powerful uptrends on a 4-hour window. You've got way more green than you have red. You're increasing your odds of being able to find a good sell point and still maintain profit. April 8th, 10. Look at your KDJ. You've got several opportunities before this thing completely runs its course. And we're in 220. Oh, and I'm still waiting for it to go a little bit higher. You can still hold it or you can take profit at any point in time. Any point in time you feel comfortable. You trade it how you want to trade it. Anyway, this is pretty much the KDJ in a nutshell. It's being able to predict strong multi-day running trends, and then zooming in on a time frame of your choice. You trade it how you want. Use the KDJ in every window. Find your long uptrend, your strong uptrend, and then find your premium buying opportunity on a smaller time frame window. And then, if you don't want the clutter, don't watch a 1 minute. Watch a 5. If you use this in conjunction with, say, a MACD crossover, that can also definitely find a good selling point for any particular stock. I have a momentum indicator on mine, and yes, you can see this is not Webull, but this has some things that Webull just doesn't have. I'm going to go over TradingView on another video. I find it definitely worth making a video over. But the KDJ, in essence, for all of you guys out there who are asking me more questions over how to explain this a little clearer, hopefully this finally kind of drives home the point. It's late. Over how important it is and how accurate it is at finding these multi-day runners. And, you can try this on any stock. I won't take up too much more of your time, but I do feel this is valuable and important information for all you guys that were asking. This works on anything. You'll typically find a 14-3 setting on most KDJs. You can play around with the numbers and set them how you like, but even here, we got Delta Airlines. This thing, start here to trough. As that delta line increases, don't catch it too far into it. I try to catch it between 0 and 30. You've got more green days than you have red days. Once it peaks, you're going to have more red days than green days. Pretty much that's the fundamental basis of my strategy and how I'm formulating it for myself on how to be more consistent. 4-hour windows, detect long trends, zoom in shorter time frames, find your buy-in, find your exit based on the KDJ. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Hopefully it made a lot of sense. We'll be on Webull, and I look forward to drawing some more charts, sharing some more information, and as always, learning to get better. Good luck next week. Till then, till next Sunday, trade well.